Hola, hola. Estamos acá de vuelta con una entrevista en inglés, o sea, hoy vamos a hacer otra vez Spanglish. Es una entrevista bien interesante que he querido hacer hace mucho tiempo. Vamos a hablar con Steve Banasiak. Él es el broker, manager y dueño de LYNQ Real Estate, conocida antes como Baron Real Estate. Vamos a hablar de lo que hace él, vamos a conocerlo a él, vamos a hablar de cómo llegó él a esta posición y vamos también a hablar un poco de la compañía, de la transformación de la compañía, vamos a hablar de la economía, del real estate, vamos a hablar del futuro, de lo que se ve en la economía, el futuro, en nuestra área, vamos a hablar un montón de cosas y él es bien divertido, así es que no crean que va a ser una entrevista aburrida, para nada, pero va a ser en inglés. Entonces, démosle la bienvenida a Steve. Here you go.
Hi, As, how you doing today?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing awesome. Happy to be on with you.
Thank you for being here. And I will tell everyone what happened yesterday.
Oh, we should.
we will have it somewhere in the channel later on. So I interviewed him yesterday, so we can have the interview, and somehow we have set up everything. Everything was really good in the office, and forgot to press recording.
Yeah,
just like that. We speak for like 1 hour and nothing was recorded.
It was a great interview, though. You guys should have seen it.
It was good. I promise you, some of the questions will be different today, so you will be prepared, like, because I like to catch you out of the,
I prefer not to know questions going, and it makes the answers more authentic, right?
and I mean, some of the things are the same thing because it's the general information, but I want to start with something. Sure. How you got into real estate? I know you for years as a realtor, broker. I met you when you already have the broker license. But how you get into real estate?
Yeah, it's a great question because we never start in real estate, right? We generally come from different areas. And for me, my family was in it. My mother was in it when I was very young. So I remember as a child, she was taking me on shows. She was taking me around in the office. So I was around it. And over time, originally I was going to be a doctor. I was in medical school. I was going to be a doctor. And really? I was originally in medical school, which people don't know. I wanted to be a sports, go to sports medicine. And just kind of at that point in my life, going through college, I started looking more into business. I started getting really interested in some of the technology stocks that were out there. It started having more of an affinity towards business. And I would think I was really always more business minded. And over time, I think having been exposed to it as a young child, my mom's still a BA and she's still licensed to this day, and enjoying business, I think I no longer wanted to have just a regular 9-to-5 job and said, I want to go out, I want to have my own business. And that's one of the great things about real estate. We are our own business owners. But I always want to take it further. I never wanted to just be an agent. I wanted to get into coaching. I wanted to get into mentorship. I wanted to get into leadership. And 15 years later, just about, here I am as a broker owner and helping lead 130 agents.
Wow, that's a lot of agents. I never knew you were going to be a medical sports doctor.
Yep. Oh yeah. When I originally went to college, I was a pre-med major.
Wow. And I know you have a big background in martial arts. What martial arts are?
So I'm a third-degree black belt in Taekwondo, a third-degree black belt in Shotokan, and a third-degree black belt in Goju-Ryu. So I started studying martial arts probably around the age of 5, and it's really been a driving factor in my entire life, from mindset to how I motivate myself to how I handle adversity in life. It's always being able to control it, understand my energy, understand energy around me. I've just always had an affinity for just the culture of the martial arts themselves and the true history behind it.
And how those two things, growing up with a realtor, because my kids say the last thing they will do is real estate because they grow up the same way. going with me to showings and everything, and they don't want to do anything. They're like, you take care of that. We knew. And so from those two things, martial arts and being around a realtor all your life, how that affect you, how you face life? I mean, you already say about your decisions and all that, and see your mom and have your own schedule, all those things. But being now the owner and manager, how all those things get together?
So really, for me, martial arts and athletic was a huge portion of my life. I was a national champion. I studied for years in martial arts. I was a competitive runner. I was a collegiate athlete, and I've really used all of that to make myself as who I am as a leader. From being a black belt at an early age, instructing people 2, 3 times my age, to being a team captain on my track team. I always took a position of leadership. And one of the best things my father ever asked me when I was a kid, he asked me, he was taking me to a karate studio one night. And he asked me, Stephen, what do you want to be when you grow up? And at this time, I was maybe about 7 years old. And you don't know what you don't know. Then I was like, I don't know. Mom wants me to be a doctor. I had my little Fisher Price doctor set when I was a baby. And I, always played with that. I'm like, oh, no, Dad, I think I want to be a doctor. And he looks at me and goes, no, Stephen, that's not what I asked you. I was like, yeah, okay, I'm 7 years old. And I don't get the question. And he looked at me and goes, there's two type of people in this world. There's leaders and there's followers. You have a choice on who you want to be in this world. What do you want to be? And I remember looking at him. It was a rainy, dreary night up in Toms River, New Jersey. And I remember looking at him and saying, I want to be a leader, Dad. And that moment, even, almost 40 years later today, became a defining moment for me in how I went through business, how I went through my career, and really what I try and do with our agents at LYNQ Real Estate and how I lead them, because I can't get flustered. I know I'm at 100 miles an hour trying to do a whole bunch of things, but I can't allow my own emotions or others' emotions to control decisions there. And I think that's one of the toughest things to do as a leader at times, to really say, hey, I got to split this down the middle and be able to handle it.
Yes, and it's tough to do that in real estate too, because in real estate you have to. People sometimes think that, oh, you just take pictures, put the property in internet, or you just show houses. You have to be psychologist, you have to be marriage consult, you be babysitting, you do a lot of other things.
Oh, yeah.
I see real estate as a orchestra where you the director and you have all this.
You're conducting the orchestra there for certain. But we as agents, we wear so many different hats. And I think a lot of times the general public doesn't necessarily realize that right away. They don't realize that we're doing all of these different things behind the scenes. And at the same time, as agents, most agents are not getting paid a salary either. So we're going sometimes 30, 60, 90 days between paychecks. It's easy for people to say, oh, you guys get paid great. Well, when it's 3 months between checks that are coming in, there's no taxes being taken out. There's an emotional scale that goes into that as well. And I know we've both been on that side of the equation before, and sometimes trying to help guide people through that, because ultimately as a broker, I'm responsible for trying to help build businesses as well. I take it personally when I don't see somebody closing something right away. So it's hard to manage all of that range of emotion.
It is not easy. It is not easy. But also, you have a big background in tech.
Yes.
With technology. So that is other factor to the equation in that aspect.
Okay. So technology's always been in my life. I remember having a Commodore 64 computer back in the 80s. And it was one of the first home computers that you could use. And I grew up using it, grew up really understanding it, to the point where I was in my 20s. I was actually a paid video game tester. So I traveled around with some of the larger companies out there.
That's a fine job.
It was fun. It don't pay much. It really doesn't pay much. Yeah.
I thought they would pay kind of decent money for do that.
Not as well as you would really think. I had had a job offer years ago from Activision Blizzard to work on the game World of Warcraft at one point, and what they wanted to pay me to move out to California, I couldn't afford it in my 20s to move from New Jersey out there. I would have needed 200 jobs at that point. It was cool to do it, but it was having that skill set today allows me to look at technology a little bit quicker, figure it out a little bit faster, and really use that to be able to help agents. Because we know we've got people at us each and every day trying to sell us something. What's the newest shiny object that just came out in real estate? And I think my background allows me to parse through some of the white noise that goes on and help agents say, no, I've been reviewing these different products. This is going to do this. This is going to do this. Use these products versus some of these other products out there.
And I know, I mean, I met you when you were in a different company.
Mm-hmm.
At the moment you came to Baron, because at that time was Baron Real Estate, and now you're doing even in bigger with LYNQ Real Estate. One of the things you always go is, okay, I'm trying this. I mean, we start talking about artificial intelligence before was a boom type of thing. You're big in that, you're big in education, you're big in all those things. How you feel like you evolve from all that playing video games for fun and get paid, this?
And life is a natural evolution, right? We can't stop growing, we can't stop learning, because if we do, we're kind of devolving. And I think from the martial arts background, the athletic background, I'm a big believer that anything that I'm doing, I need to be looking at it from the perspective of how do I get better each and every day? How do I get better for myself? How do I get better for my family? And when I know I'm getting better for the right reasons, learning these things, I'm getting better for our agents. And it, just like artificial intelligence, right? We started training agents on ChatGPT 2.5 years ago, before it was really even known what it was. It hadn't hit mainstream media, but I saw what was going to happen with this. And you fast forward 2.5 years, and there's more and more training going on in it. And in some of the training being provided to realtors right now is really behind the curve. I was going to training earlier today.
And you have first a front row experience in what they teach somewhere else and what you teach in the office.
Oh yeah. Me and one of our fellow agents, we were on a Zoom together watching it, and he was looking at me saying, "You started teaching what they're teaching 2 years ago." I looked at him, I go, "I know. I own that, but that's why I do it for our agents there. It's not something that I put out to the public. Anybody ever sees this and wants to learn, by all means, contact Yaz, and you can get in front of me and sit down. But no, we've got to be future forward. We got to be evolving. We can't stop learning. You're never going to know everything about real estate, about technology, because it's going to be different tomorrow. You're going to have new customers. You're going to have a new platform.
That's true. That's true. And how, okay, now with all that, we know a little bit about Steve. How you open your own brokerage 5 years ago, and how that is been going on until now?
So I think it's funny, because when we first met at at one of the old companies that we were working at together, I'm pretty certain in a hallway I had said to a lot of people I would never go out and open up my own real estate brokerage.
Yes, I remember that.
I remember. And obviously it kind of made me into a liar down the road, right? But no, and it goes back into that evolution, right? I got into that position in leadership, and I learned a lot and grew a lot from that company. That could never be taken away, and we all went separate ways, and that's fine. But it made me realize what I wanted to do for agents, what I had always thought was attainable. And when the opportunity came to partner up with the original founders of Baron Real Estate, I said, you know what, maybe this is that opportunity now, really to start putting a little bit of my own handprint onto the educational side and what we're teaching agents, not just the old 1980s, 1990s Glenn Ross way of real estate, right? It's evolved. It's a relationship industry. And why some people don't want to really look into the fact that it is, we just want to be callers or buy leads. I said, no, let's lean into the relationship side of it. And that became the natural evolution from Baron to LYNQ as well, because now it became about relationships. It really became about being a hyper local agent, doing this for the community. My idea of an agent is exactly what it was decades ago. You went to an agent for the source of information. You wanted to know what went on in your town. You talked to your local realtor. And we're now with AI and social media, agents can be more hyper local than ever before. Now we've just got to train harder, so we're not just a statistic out there. We're actually bringing facts to people. So when we went from Barron to LYNQ, LYNQ is about being the local link to information, about being the link to a successful real estate transaction. So once again, kind of evolution from where it started through the Barron phase of the creation of the company, now into the next phase of the company.
One thing, I mean, you like to think out of the box.
Oh yeah.
You like to act out of the box, and we know you, we know that. But I think as an owner, one of the first things you did to show that and show the company will be different was give iPads to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And bring one of the most famous multi-million realtors in the world, because
Mm-hmm.
now he's worldwide,
Oh yeah.
to Port St. Lucie, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So how that idea about giving iPads happen?
So it's a great idea, right? Because, or a great question.
Well, great
because,
idea, but it was completely out of the norm.
You're correct, because who one day wakes up or with a group of partners sitting around talking about it and says, hey, let's go buy 150 iPads. Like when we walked into the store, what we did is do a partnership with Verizon to ultimately do it. But I remember we walked into the store and the gentleman standing behind the counter, the sales clerk said, oh, how can I help you? Yeah, we're here. We want to buy 100 iPads. The guy looked at us like we were nuts. He's like, what do you mean you want 100 iPads? Yeah, we want 100 iPads. Well, I don't even have 100. They don't keep 100 iPads sitting in the store. They're not selling that many of them, right? We did it because we were in the middle of COVID still. We were just kind of on the back end. Florida was a little different how we handled things down here. We were still in that COVID market, and people were not going out as much. We had to be more mobilely based. And that really made the shift where you look at how Zoom became natural, right? More mobile, more tech integrated. Look at what we're doing right now. 10 years ago, we weren't doing anything like this. We would have to have sat down. So we said, let's get the iPad. So now that becomes the agent's mobile office. That was their connection back to us. It was connection to their contracts. So in that market, you remember, there was only a handful of houses on the market. Inventory was astronomically low.
Now
so
we have to act like this quick to get under contract.
Yeah. If your customer wanted that house, you didn't have time to get in the car and go drive back across town to the local Starbucks or McDonald's to go get Wi-Fi. So it became, hey, let's have the iPad. And you remember, we were writing offers right in the middle of kitchens while there was other agents outside waiting to show the property. It made our agents quicker. People thought it was a gimmick, but you don't go out and spend $150,000 on iPads just for a gimmick or a photo op. And when Ryan Serhant came down, he was doing the same thing, but he was doing it with Chromebooks instead of iPads. So it was Microsoft versus Apple there.
I remember when we start talking about Ryan Serhant coming here. First, nobody believed it.
Nope.
Until literally the week of the show when he was here, everybody, why I don't got tickets? I'm like, we offer it. But
we were trying to get them away.
And at the end, everybody was fighting for the tickets.
Oh yeah.
Nobody knew Ryan Serhant would really make it. And then even he mentions, like, I didn't even know where Port St. Lucie was.
Nope.
He stayed in Palm Beach because that's what he knew.
Oh yeah. He still stayed at the Breakers.
I know. And then I met him in Manhattan in his office like a year or two later, and his cameraman mother lived in Johnson Beach.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And we find out that, and he still remembered that, like he told me that they was more of the one, like one of the lifetime events he will never forget, because was in a place where never thought he would be, because was in a town he never thought he would be, and because the company was brand new and was a lot of parallel with what he was doing in Manhattan.
Oh yeah, no, an incredible amount of parallel from the conceptual ideas of the technology to the in-house services, in-house print shops. it was all about thinking future and arming agents for tomorrow. And yeah, I'm a big believer that we have to start planning for tomorrow to today. And that was always that forward thinking process that we had as the initial founders group, and the partners that are still around try and keep on to this day as well, because you've got to be thinking future forward.
Now, how Baron become LYNQ?
So how did Baron become LYNQ, right? And that was because that was once again the next stage in evolution and adaptation. So we had gotten to a point where we've grown rather large inside of the St. Lucie County area, the Treasure Coast area. But the goal was always to expand further and to really create more of a brand. And I don't think a brand that expands outside of the area just as one name. It was about bringing everything back together again. So while some of the partners had changed and some of us are no longer working with each other, there was still the vision. The vision that was there on day one still exists. So we were in a position now to say, okay, it's a good time to really make a brand transition. And kind of like that butterfly moment, right? The caterpillar now turns into the butterfly, spreads its wings, and will fly away. That becomes LYNQ. Baron Real Estate was kind of the caterpillar stage that was there. We went through the cocoon. Now we're turning into the butterfly as we now expand out. We brought the team on in Pembroke Pines and really starting to get out with that. And it's tough because now you go back to a brand new name and people are like, well, what's LYNQ, right? Well, LYNQ is formerly Baron Real Estate. And it's retelling part of that story every day. But the value proposition realistically has never changed. We're here for the local community. We're ingrained into our local community. We were generally built by locals, with the exception of me. I'm the Jersey transplant and the whole thing. You know, I think you always need one in the group.
I'm from Costa Rica, so I'm even far away from. Well, flying matter the same amount of plane hours to New Jersey is to Costa Rica, so we kind of
split the difference.
But so now you have LYNQ.
Mm-hmm.
What is coming next as the company? I know our secrets you cannot tell me yet. Mm-hmm. But what is happening in LYNQ right now? What is the project, the future for the company?
Awesome question, and we got an exciting future coming up ahead right now. In the next couple of weeks, we're actually going to be launching a new brokerage, which will be another LYNQ brokerage, part of LYNQ Companies, which will be the higher hierarchy of the company. So our next brokerage is going to be LYNQ Commercial. And I've always been a believer that you should separate the two. And you know, as an agent for a while, they're two very, very separate transaction styles, two different styles of training. And I said, you know what, from a liability standpoint, as a broker, we're going to separate these. We're going to have our true residential luxury style brokerage. We're going to have our commercial brokerage as well. And right now we are on target to launch our third real estate platform, which will be LYNQ Property Management, launching probably the end of this year. And maybe, you know, if it goes into January of 2026, the absolute latest. So we'll have residential, we'll have commercial, and then we'll have property management, because right now, as some people may say, the residential market's contracted a little bit, and we are down a little bit. Our local area has a massive need for commercial real estate, new commercial real estate, new developments coming in. So that is the next frontier. And Florida's always been a destination state. And once again, property management is massively needed. We've seen the rise of Airbnbs, VRBOs. Florida was always very big in the second home infrastructure that's there. So it's another platform that's needed for people coming really from all around the globe. Florida's a global market. You know, Florida is not just people came from the Northeast.
And so with all those, it's amazing. I know you are big in education, and we all help in many ways to have education a big part of LYNQ. Mm-hmm. But what is that difference between LYNQ and other brokerage then, besides education, the technology, the environment there? Because when you walk there, is walking to a home, it's a family, you don't feel the craziness, but what make a LYNQ that different?
Well, I think you kind of hit that nail on the head right there. It's the culture, it's the family atmosphere. where a lot of brokers kind of have that Shark Tank mentality, but they still talk about, oh, well, we're here to support you. We have classes. And then you ask for a copy of the training calendar, and there's maybe one class a week. They're not robust training calendars there, or they're training programs that were written years ago. For everything that we've been doing since we've become Baron Real Estate, it's about taking all of the knowledge that all of us have gained throughout our entire careers, from every seminar we've been to every class we've taken, every deal that we've had fall apart, to every deal that we've successfully helped agents through, and start writing newer, more modern curriculum right now as well. Being able to rapidly react to the market that's going on versus a national brokerage now being kind of steered by their corporate offices, and that's the infrastructure that's there. We're local, we're able to pivot on the fly, and even as we go into other markets, we're studying markets before we get there so we can have an understanding of what's going on when we hit the ground running, preparing our agents. And you know me, I keep an open door policy. A lot of agents say it, but people are in and out of my office all day long, and it's about really showing up. It's not about talking about it, it's about doing it. I'm a big believer in action, and I think what really separates us is we are the culture that we talk about. I've been other places that say it, they don't live it. We live it every day. I really think we do.
Well, you talk about the future. So what you see in real estate in general in the future, taking in consideration all the new technology and all those, the economy and all those numbers, in 1 minute, what you see in the future?
Ooh, 1 minute. Okay. So right now, I believe there's a lot of pent up demand for real estate in Florida. I know we've had higher interest rates over the course of the last 2 years, and inventory's been up and closings have been down. I'm a big believer if we get into the low sixes and high fives with mortgage interest rates, you will see a boom once again. If you're a buyer or a seller, stop waiting for 3% interest rates to come back. It's not happening. It never should have happened. And those that jumped on it, good job. You bought it at a really good time. I'm at 3.5%, and I'm not leaving this house anytime soon. I do believe we see a big increase in 2026, though. And I think we see it probably in the fourth quarter of this year, starting to trend up as there's more hope coming into some of these markets. Once again, I'm not going to go down into all the macro and microeconomics of all of it. But I truly believe we have more of a hope-based market right now as we roll into 2026. If you've been thinking about buying or selling, it's going to be the time to make that move again. Yes, prices will come down 5%, but when they were also up 30%, you can come back down 5% and you still got a lot of equity built up.
It's like nothing. That's true.
I think they say 80% of homeowners around the country have equity built up in their home right now. I haven't verified that number.
It's around 75, 80%. It is around 75, 80%.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, like around that, according to the records they show up.
Oh, yeah.
In your real estate life, what is the biggest regret you have?
The biggest regret, right? To really know, the martial artist in me says I don't have regrets if I've learned from it.
But no, we do have it.
We do have them, right? We do have them. And one of the funny things is and this is why I'm always learning. This is why I'm trying to put new technology forward, why I really got on board with AI early on in the process. I remember back in 2015, sitting around my computer, I have a graphic design degree, and saying, video is the future of real estate. And I started going around town and I was writing up all my blogs, getting all the information for different things. And I was going around and I was going to record every little thing that was going on. Probably put too much into the planning phase of all of it, because in the middle of that, that's when I got the job offer to go to the previous company that we met at, and I never executed on it. It was a good idea. And you've heard me, I've been telling agents for years at this point to get in front of a camera and get comfortable with the uncomfortable. But now I look at all these different channels that have come up, and one of the bigger ones that's out there is called the Living In Philosophy, and it's all lifestyle. I have it all scripted out. It's probably one of the notebooks on my desk right here. It's called Welcome Home. And I had the idea in 2015, and I just never used it. So it's probably that, right? But that's why I am not going to allow our agents or myself to miss out on this AI front.
But that comes to something interesting, because what do you will teach the agents right now, or in general to the people who is in real estate? about how to do things, or what do you will teach them that say you have to do this, or things you think they're missing, and the big picture type of thing about the business, the job, the everything. What you will teach an agent they didn't teach you, maybe.
Okay, well, no, and that's, we don't learn a lot when we come into this industry, right? I didn't have a broker that really leaned heavy into education. He was a great person, but didn't really lead with education based off of the model that I was in at the time. So what do I look at now? I look at all of these changes. I still look at video and social media and say it's still not being used effectively by all of the agents out there. And the biggest thing I always hear is, well, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough, whether it's I don't have enough time to go shoot content. I don't have enough time to write the ideas. This is where artificial intelligence comes into play. And it's being able to structure a perfect day. It's being able to write out a content calendar for short form or long form and really structure it out, because the things that I've been able to do with it have saved me weeks worth of time. Not just hours. I'm talking weeks worth of times as I'm going through some of the different things that I'm doing in the back end for the brokerage. So I believe agents need to learn it. You're not going to be replaced by a computer. We are not there. This isn't Terminator. We're at a point though where you will be replaced by an agent that has learned how to leverage AI at a high level. And quite honestly, I know for some people it's tough to look at the curriculums that are out there. But today, with their advanced features, was writing a listing description. I was doing it 2.5 years ago, not to pat myself on the back. There's nothing advanced about doing a listing description in ChatGPT anymore. And there's a lot of new AI tech coming out. So it's staying ahead of that curve, because the next thing I'm going to tell people that's going to happen after AI is going to be augmented reality. We saw a lot about virtual reality, but augmented reality will be the next big one. We should timestamp this and come back to this in 5 years too.
I'm sure we will. Now, I know real estate is about the personal touch. I mean, the connection and listen that client and all that. Big technology. Now, in 5 years, we will be like, wow, like you say. Okay, it's not Terminator. Okay, I agree on that. But why do you think that will affect the public in general, or how this realtor will say, you know what, yes, you can find all this online, but you will still need me?
So you can find the information online, but just because you can find it and read it doesn't mean that you necessarily know how to interpret it properly, right? And that's where, as realtors, we have to go back to being consultants. We have to be strategists. We have to be analysts. It's about being able to look at the last 3 years worth of market data, understand where we're at today, and project into the future. We talked about how Florida is very big in investment properties and second homes. We need to be able to now just not tell a customer, oh yeah, you can find your home on Zillow or realtor.com and go to a big portal, which then you're kind of forced into using all of their other things. It's now being able to predict into it and having a little bit of predictive analysis in it. And once again, you take spreadsheets worth of data. I know most people don't think Excel is the most fun thing on the planet, but I throw that into AI too, and I have it spit out what the actual numbers look like, because I'm just giving it factual information. So we have to go back to being consultants once again, not just thinking that we're the next influencer. It's nice to have social media to go find people, but what type of value are you bringing once they actually find you? And that's once again where it goes back into the education piece that we do at LYNQ. And it's always talking about the market. Where are we? What are we going through? Where have we been and where are we going? The past leaves clues to the future as we look at past and present markets.
That's true. But also, I mean, I'm going a little bit with the public in general. Part of that connection with the people. And I know we are big in the community also. From the first trunk and tree we did, that one was looking to help the business because it was in the middle of the COVID. We have a huge parking lot.
Oh yeah.
And we try to bring those food trucks and business to be out and help them. But Link also do a lot of things in the communities and the community in general, but also the agents commit to help and be there part of that community. So I think that's one other fact the technology cannot, replace.
Technology can't replace human interaction.
Yes, but what other things Link do in the community? Tell me about it.
So we're very connected with a lot of the local charities, a lot of local businesses. We are true believers in not just saying support local, but we truly support local. That really is shown within our Link Local program. Link Local is our vendor program. We go through and we look for small business owners. We're not looking for the biggest national brands out there. We're looking for the local company, the veteran-owned companies that really need help here in our local market. We look at Link Military, for instance, and what we're doing with the National Veterans Alliance and how we're helping veteran relocation. But with the NVA program, it's not just about helping a veteran get into a home. It's about helping a veteran understand their benefits, having access to the right people, making sure they know how to fill out their forms at the VA. And some of these vets, I'm the son of a 100% disabled veteran. They struggle to get the care and the rights that they've earned as a veteran. So it's helping that community. It's once again helping the local charitable organizations, United Against Poverty. Currently, we're working with the St. Lucie Mets on a Strike Out the Hunger campaign. So right now we're getting ready to launch a big food drive that's going to go through the month of August to help families in need here in St. Lucie County. It's not about shipping money out.
And we have more families in need and people in need in this area than people realize sometimes.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes as a realtors, because we are outside, we see it.
Correct.
But most of the community don't realize that. So I think that's something good from Link does to be there for the community. We do. Now, just to start finishing it up. What is one thing people don't know about you besides maybe being a doctor?
Besides the fact that I was a pre-med major.
But they should know about you.
One thing that they don't know about me that they should know about me. I tend to kind of be an open book, and I don't try and keep secrets from anybody. But really, I don't think people necessarily understand the resolve and integrity that I bring into things every day. To me, a real estate transaction is not about money. If I was going through life just for the money, I would have went and become a doctor, but I would have stayed in that role. I don't do things for myself. I believe in servant leadership, and I believe through the hardest moments in life, there's certain people out there that need to stand up for everybody else. And that's kind of always who I am and what I am. I know it's not a big shock necessarily. It's just helping people. It's, once again, if I wanted to do this just for money, I would have stayed at a big brand. But I would have shipped all the money out of the area at the same time, just like all these other companies do. I go get one of those fancy national logos back on my chest again. Well, 50% of the money goes right back out of the state too. I'm not interested in that. That's true.
What is one thing you like to do when you're not doing real estate?
One thing I like to do when I'm not doing real estate. So I'm pretty much on all day long. Even when I come home at night, I'm still working and just tinkering around. But when I like to slow down, I still like to be able to, spend time, of course, with my family. I've got a 7-month-old son.
Like 7-year-old.
Yeah, Benjamin Button philosophy. No, I've got a 7.5-month going on 8-month-old right now. And that really has become my life. It really is changed my perspective. It's changed my why. Not that I ever needed my why to be any stronger. It's just having those moments, and right now, and it's like to really get the opportunity to slow down and kind of hold them and say, wow, I helped kind of bring this little guy into the world. My wife did a lot of the work, 99% of the work, but still like to say,
you was their cheerleader.
Yeah, I was there for support.
One thing you would like to change in real estate or in your life, if you can just go like that and overnight say, let's change this?
Ooh, wow, that's a one thing, and life probably be easy. So we'll stick to real estate there. So one thing I'd like to change in real estate. Quite honestly, I believe it needs to be harder to get into this industry. I believe it has become too easy and too accessible for people to get a real estate license, and they just do it because it's a hobby. Um, I take this very seriously. You take this very seriously, and it's, I think, why everybody has the ability to go out and do it and should be able to do it. There needs to be tougher requirements. Like, we could literally get a real estate license in 7 days if you just go to class all week long and you pass a test. The test should be harder. The test should focus on contracts at the same time. The state put states, because I've been licensed in multiple states before, a lot of times put contract training back onto the brokers. I get there's different contracts that are out there state to state, but I think, and I think it's New Hampshire and Vermont, actually, after 2 years of being in the industry, you have to make the choice. If you want to stay in the industry, you have to go for your broker's license. You don't stay on as a sales associate after 2 years. You actually have to go and qualify for more testing. I think people should be challenged to do that. It is the lowest entry and cheapest entry level career to own a business that there is. And I believe it should be taken seriously. Because if I wanted to be that doctor and I wanted to go open up my own practice, I would have went to school for 10 years, do residencies. I would have had hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of debt, and I would have been working in a hospital for the first few years, right? And the amount of time that it would take me to go through all of that in the medical world or legal world. I've gotten my real estate license. I've become a successful agent. I've managed brokerages, and now I've opened up and launched 2 brokerages, essentially. You can't do that in a lot of other places. So I say, let's take this seriously and make sure that it's not a hobby, that's a passion. I think realtors have a passion for helping people.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. One last thing. What we should know about LYNQ, if someone want to know about LYNQ, about you as a brokerage, what we should know to say, you know what, let me find out more. What question they should ask you if they come to find out more about LYNQ, about real estate, or about Steve?
So, good question. I'm trying to figure out which way to go to answer that, right? So what should they know about us? We're not hiding behind anything. I am who I am. I'm different. I'm not your normal broker. I don't like to sit behind a desk. I get bored by doing that.
Yeah.
I really don't. I'm an open book. If you want to know what I'm thinking, you're going to get what I'm thinking. I'm not going to sit back and I'm not going to cherry code it. If you're looking for somebody that's here to help push you to create your own business and really be a business owner, that's what I'm here to do. I'm not here to give you fish. I'm here to teach you how to fish so you can support yourself for the remainder of your life, which is different than some other brokerages out there. They do great things. I believe when we have the right people around us, iron sharpens iron, and we can become better business owners. And trust me, there is enough of the pie in this industry to go around. We don't have to hoard it. So at me, there are no secrets. There is no hidden book that I have. Come check us out. Come in. You want to know more? Come in and take one of my classes. They're free. I don't charge. Never would.
And what they have to ask you, just one question you would like that agent come and want to be part of real estate or part of the company. That question they usually don't ask, and they should ask you.
The question that they ask that they do, the question they should ask that they don't ask.
That's
honestly, a lot of times people come in and the question is always how fast they can get paid. And I see this a lot of times, especially with newer agents coming into the industry. It's well, can I get paid in the next 30, 60, or 90 days? I'm waiting for the person that comes in and says, I want to learn and I want to know how you failed and how it made you successful. Because obviously to get to where I am in life, I had to fail dozens and dozens and dozens of times. This was not a perfect non-bumpy road. It was filled with potholes and mountains and everything else. And it's if you're looking to learn through all of that, look for the leader that has failed, because that's the person that becomes successful. So come in and ask me, how'd you fail? What'd you do wrong? Because not everybody wants to talk about what they did wrong, right? We want to talk about what we did right. And quite honestly, I've done a lot of shit wrong. And I've messed a lot of stuff up, but that's fine. That's like I said, open book. But it's made us better. It's made me better. It makes me push to make people better as well.
Well, thank you. Again, thank you for your time. I know it's a lot of your time and you're very busy, but thank you for this. I appreciate your friendship, your honesty, and yes, you're not sugarcoat anything. And I love because you always think out of the box. So thank you for everything you do. And I hope in 5 years we have a new interview, or even in a year, to talk about all the changes already happening.
Oh yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that, and I have always appreciated your friendship amongst everything that we have. We've been co-workers for a while and colleagues for a while, but your friendship comes first, and that means the world to me, as and it's great to sit down and do this, and I'm always available when you guys need me.
Thank you.
No problem.
Y ya aquí escuchamos a Steve. Espero que entendieran todo y que aprendieran un montón sobre real estate, que aprendieran un poco de los mitos de real estate y aprendieran un poco de la compañía en la que yo trabajo. Gracias. Hasta luego.
And
Done.
stream, are you sure?